Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today Around Kansas starts with a look at playwright Edgar Lee Masters and his Spoon River Anthology. Next, get to know a 58-year-old movie star named Cora, the new elephant at the Topeka Zoo. Then enjoy another poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with the strong community theater in Garnett, the Chamber Players. Stay tuned. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. It's really early on Wednesday, so this must be Around Kansas. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. So, gosh, this year, I mean, I know we talk about it ad nauseum, but the thing is, the years go so fast. So I guess the reason I'm bringing it up again is when we tell you about some really interesting places to go and all of that, don't really put it off. Go see them. They're really neat places all around this great state of Kansas.
Don't put it off. And I've been working on the calendar lately because I'm looking at, things that I have to do and, places I've got to be. There's no way to get to everything that's going on. We've got first weekend in October is coming up, the Mini Sapa celebration in Oberlin, one of our favorite towns. But there's just no way to get to everything that's happening. And Apple Festival at Old Prairie Town. I mean, there's just so much going on. And, people who say that there's nothing happening, like my granny used to say, if you're bored, you're a boring person. That's all I got to say, because there's so much to see and do.
Now, let's go back to the Apple Festival at Ward Mead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, brown bread ice cream. They make brown bread ice cream especially for that. Oh, it's good.
Honey, everything there is good.
Have you ever had brown bread ice cream? Is that something that's kind of unique to Topeka? Did you have it in North Carolina?
No. Well, no? Not that I know of. I never had it till I moved to Topeka.
Huh.
So I...
Okay, we're going to do a story. I'm sure there is information around it about the Baughman Dairy in Topeka, because they made brown bread. When I was just a little tyke growing up and living in Newton but visiting my grandmother in Topeka, they used to have horse-drawn wagons that came around. They were the ice cream wagons, with the bell and the whole thing. And brown bread ice cream was the most popular flavor they had. Now, Ward Mead got the recipe for that, and they make the old Baughman ice creams, brown bread ice cream. So there, I better get some free stuff now.
I think you just did a segment on that, Frank. That was great. Yeah. More royalties headed our way as we speak.
So anyway, don't miss the Apple Festival and all the others.
And all the others. Every part of the state's got their unique flavors, unique traditions, and, all the cool things. And the folks in the communities, this is one of the things that impressed me so much about Kansas when I moved here, is how hard people work in their communities to make these events happen and to keep the traditions going. And they just care so much. And that's true no matter where you are in the state. I don't think I found a community that is an exception to that. Everybody works so hard to keep their communities going, keep them viable, keep them pretty and interesting, and it's just all those little things make Kansas a great state.
Now, you know the song, "There's no business like show business."
I do.
Today's the day.
Today's the day. Our whole show is show business. Stay with us.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community.
Experience the life of the mountain man, American Indian, trappers, and traders at the annual Bald Eagle Rendezvous, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome back, folks. When I was growing up in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, we were pretty far back in the hills. We had the Barter Theater, a very famous theater in Abingdon, Virginia, and their theater troupe would go around. They probably had a grant to take culture to disadvantaged hillbillies like us or something. I don't know. But they were wonderful professional theater troupe, and Barter Theater got its name because they survived the Depression. The actors survived because people would trade chicken and eggs and produce to keep the theater going and pay the actors. So it was a very prestigious theater. But they came to our high school and staged Spoon River Anthology. And I think that it's changed my life. I will never forget what it felt like to sit in that theater and watch this very professional staging of what I then studied in literature class, and Spoon River Anthology is just one of my all-time favorites. I love it. I love Edgar Lee Masters. And imagine my surprise when I found out Edgar Lee Masters was born in Kansas. You can't make this stuff up, Frank.
No, a lot of talent.
It's just like weeds. We just grow it like weeds or like sunflowers. That's it. We grow talent like sunflowers in Kansas.
Yeah.
And so Edgar Lee Masters, if you haven't dusted off your old literature book from high school lately, get it out because I know he's in there. We all had little snippets to memorize. So take it out and read it
Spoon
again.
River Anthology.
It is difficult to find a more boring subject. A small town, a rural cemetery, the Midwest. Yet, in the hands of playwright Edgar Lee Masters, it became one of the most enduring of America's stories, Spoon River Anthology. Included in virtually every high school textbook and staged by nearly every civic theater in the nation, Spoon River Anthology ensured that Masters would never be forgotten. He is certainly remembered in his hometown of Garnett. When the town celebrated its 150th anniversary a few years ago, along with its favorite son, Senator Governor Arthur Capper, and his father-in-law, General Governor Sam Crawford, Garnett honored Masters with costumed readings from his works. Masters was born in Garnett in 1868, only 3 years after Capper. Soon afterwards, however, his family moved to Illinois, and it was in small-town Lewiston, Illinois, that he found Oak Hill Cemetery and the nearby Spoon River. Masters worked in his father's law office before being admitted to the bar himself in Chicago. He eventually became a law partner to Clarence Darrow. Yes, the Clarence Darrow from the Scopes Monkey Trial. He wrote poetry and biography, including a biography of Illinois' most famous son, Abraham Lincoln. Spoon River Anthology was originally a series of poems and was collected and published as a volume in 1915. It is a series of epitaphs, with each of the small town's residents speaking from the grave. An anniversary edition was recently released, and a reviewer on Amazon wrote, "What I found was a book that was written in 1915, but that brings to life the voices of humanity louder than anything I've read in recent years. This book is more poetry than prose, but the stories of the residents of Spoon River, that are collected within the pages are stories that are not soon forgotten. This book has moved me more than anything else I've read in recent years, and I highly recommend that others read this outstanding work of art.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
TALLGRASS Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about TALLGRASS Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Visit the Kansas State Cornhusking Contest and Festival on October 7th and 8th at the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70 crisscross this hub of the Western Vistas Historic Byway. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. Back again. Hey, you know, the Topeka Zoo, which is known as the world-famous Topeka Zoo.
Thanks to Gary Clark.
Gary Clark put it on there, and it really kind of stuck. But Gary still does a lot with the zoo when he's not off on safari.
What an amazing man. He's just one of the best people on the planet.
Yeah. But the Topeka Zoo has really changed over the many years. There used to be Monkey Island. I know when I was a kid, and you walk through the gates, there was Monkey Island, which was, you know, it was really looked like a castle and all that, and the monkeys were there, and there was a moat, and you could throw peanuts to them and all of that. But that's long gone. But the zoo now is just a wonderful place to go because it offers so much for all ages, really.
We got the bears now, and I love the bears. I wanted a bear so badly when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, used to, many years ago, they had polar bears. And, of course, during the summer, they keep big blocks of ice in the water and all of that. But we have something now, too. We've had elephants for a long time, but the next story is going to be about the new additions to our elephants. And one of them is a movie star.
Are we lucky or what?
Yeah.
You know, not everybody gets a movie star retiring to their town, so we are thrilled to have a pretty big movie star here in our midst.
Her name's Cora. She starred with
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
How good does it get? I mean, you know.
So, have we got you intrigued? Well, then stay tuned for this story. A movie star has moved to our capital city. Her name is Cora. She's 58 years old and has quite a resume, having starred alongside superstar Burt Reynolds in Smokey and the Bandit 2. Not your usual svelte starlet, she weighs in at a little over 2 tons. Before visions of weight loss plans begin dancing in your head, let us introduce Cora, an Asian elephant. She arrived with her companion Shannon, a 34-year-old African elephant, at the Topeka Zoo in August. According to the zoo's press release, Cora and Shannon, along with their owners, have traveled across the eastern half of the United States, presenting an elephant educational program called Elephant Encounters for more than 3 decades. After one of the owners passed away, a decision was made to retire Cora and Shannon with the hope they could remain together. According to Zoo Director Brendan Wiley, the Topeka Zoo was on one of 3 zoos in the nation that house both Asian and African elephants together. We're delighted to have these 2 elephants join our herd and live out their remaining years in comfort and peace, Wiley said. As with all incoming animals at the zoo, the elephants will be in quarantine for a period of time determined by the zoo's veterinarian. To give the elephants privacy during the transition, the elephant exhibit may be closed to the public during parts of the day. Brendan said, "The zoo is extremely excited for the arrival of the new elephants and looks forward to introducing the new additions to the community. Shannon is disciplined and loves to be the center of attention, and with many adolescents, when she doesn't get her way, she will sometimes sulk, dragging her trunk on the ground or sticking out her tongue. Her favorite toy is her blue barrel, of which she carries with her wherever she goes. She enjoys treats, her favorite of which is watermelon. When Shannon was 18 months old, she was introduced to Cora. Cora, who is several years older, became an instant mother to Shannon. The two are inseparable. Cora is very passive. She will wait patiently for her turn. She loves attention and is very protective of Shannon. Cora is a very vocal elephant and can often be heard rumbling and trumpeting with delight. Cora and Shannon joined Timbo, a 46-year-old African elephant, and Sunda, a 56-year-old Asian elephant. For updates, visit the zoo's website and Facebook pages, and plan to visit them in person.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. And he said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. And I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio and gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a sight today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest fort in the West. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Today, the American Angus Association is the largest breed association in the United States, and people may not know that that breed originated in the British Isles, but then was brought all the way to Kansas. This poem is entitled Birth of a Breed. It was on the 17th of May, way back in 1873, that Kansas welcomed in some cattle that would change beef history. Near the town of Victoria, out on the Kansas plains, a man named George Grant wanted to boost his cattle gains. To improve the native bloodlines and reduce the needed culls, on that day, George Grant brought in 4 Aberdeen Angus bulls. Can you imagine the sight when those beefy cattle arrived, where nothing but shorthorns or rangy longhorns had survived? It must have been a funny scene that the neighbors thought contrary when those black-hided cattle arrived out on the Kansas prairie. But when those calves were born, then the farmer's opinion moved, because the influence of those bulls made the cattle much improved. The Angus breed developed and grew for all to see. The Angus Breed Association was formed in 1883. The American Angus Auxiliary was formed in 1952, supporting youth, showing, and scholarship and all the good they do. So like when George Grant brought those bulls here in that way, Angus bulls still bring improvement in cattle herds today. And since the hungry people of the world have protein as a need, we're thankful for this immigration of the Angus breed. Happy trails.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Visit our picturesque town on the Santa Fe Trail for the Council Grove Fall Festival featuring the Voices of the Wind People pageant on the banks of the Neosho River, September 16 and 17.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. And we're back.
So, Frank, you have so much experience in theater, and he's a drama queen, isn't that? But you'll really appreciate this segment on the Garnett Community Theater. Mm-hmm. They've got a great story down there, and I was just so impressed. This is how I found out about it. I have not been yet to the Garnett Theater, but my friend Mary Ann Tennant, who is very active and is president of the board of the Leavenworth Community Theater or Civic Theater, had gone down, checked it out, and told me all about it. And I'm like, that is such a great story. We need to talk about them. And then when I realized the Edgar Lee Masters connection, I thought, shoot, we just got to talk about Garnett's theater. It's inside the church there, and they've done some amazing things. And Garnett, again, one of my favorite towns. It's so pretty. They've got so many things going for them. Not the least of which, of course, is Arthur Capper was born in Garnett, the first governor born in the state of Kansas in 1865, and he was very proud of that. So Garnett's just one of those other places that you're going to have to take a weekend, check the theater schedule and see if they've got a performance going on, and it'd be a great time to go take a scenic drive and check out the very pretty town and check out the theater troupe and just have a good time. It's dinner, and have dinner and dessert.
Yeah.
Is this a great country or what?
With playwright Edgar Lee Masters among its native sons, it was probably inevitable that the folks of Garnett would form a strong community theater. The chamber players organized in 1991 and borrowed locations for years until patron Thelma Moore and the United Presbyterian Church entered the mix. The building was being sold, and Thelma's contribution, in addition to fundraising, made it possible for the troupe to have a permanent home in 2007. The exterior is much the same, but the interior has been remodeled to accommodate the dinner theater. Tom Emerson, Jr., the group's treasurer, described a unique feature of the operation that began when he attended a local high school production and the drama club sold desserts for $1. He approached them about serving their meals, keeping the tips and proceeds from desserts. This arrangement snowballed, and other groups like 4-H, cheerleaders, and music groups took advantage of the opportunity. Subsequently, $50,000 to $60,000 have been raised for these groups, a feat unto itself in any community. It is more remarkable considering there are only 32 performance nights a year. Nights that feature original plays as well as classics by Neil Simon, Beth Henley, and other well-known authors. Tom said the chamber players are committed to fostering an appreciation of theater for the next generation and has added a youth theater camp. Also to that end, the chamber players purchased land for their future home on the square in Garnett. Planning is underway and fundraising has begun. To be sure, one day the students who are serving dinners will be on stage themselves and underwriting performances. If Edgar Lee Masters could speak from the grave, we think he'd be pleased.
The time's gone again. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere
around Kansas.
Welcome
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's